Shut up and sit down.
Welcome to the Answer is Yes podcast, where we will explore the cause and effect of just saying yes in your everyday life or in business. I will dig into topics that are not just stimulating, but will challenge you to be better in everything you do. The podcast is based on the simplicity of saying yes to opportunities you might encounter every single day. I'm your host, Jim Riley. Join me in my first series titled Blue Collar Redefined. Hello and welcome to this week's show. The answer is yes. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate all the feedback this last week about last week's show. I'm having a great time, and it's just a pleasure to be doing this. I wanted to give a sincere thanks to my producer. His name is Jim Beaver. He's done an incredible job not only editing my shows for me and working with what I give him to work with, which isn't always the best because I'm still learning my soundboard and all my equipment, even after 70 shows. But I'm just so appreciative of Jim. I try to record the intro as late as possible before we get my show out in case any new information's come up and I can get it out last minute. But here I am, 8:30 at night, going to send this pre-show in to Jim to edit with the interview, and he's going to probably be up late. So, Jim, thank you so much for your production and your editing. I know you have a very successful show yourself with over 1 million downloads at some point last year, and that is the Down and Dirty Show. If you haven't heard of it, it's all about race cars, off-road, street, bikes, everything. He's incredible. So check out downanddirtyshow.com, or you can find his podcast on just about every format from iTunes, iHeartRadio, and the list goes on. So thanks for Jim. This show this week is about athletes, and I've got an incredible athlete on the show, and I'm so grateful to have him. I've talked about Spartan racing since I started this program, and it's something that I'm passionate about, but I was new to it when I started this, and you've probably heard me tell the stories and transition from being a novice to a competitor Spartan racer in the competitive age group. Now, what I haven't talked a lot about is the elite age group, which is a small list of professionals. They're at a whole different level, and today's guest, Mark, is at that level. But, I'm thrilled to be bringing the show to you because it's something that I've found passion for with my wife and my family. My kids are racing Spartan now, and they're young. My daughter's got a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old, so they go out and have some fun at the races. And I've just found some tremendous support from my off-road partners, such as GQ6 followed me over. That's a hydration supplement, and I've been using that really as my main core supplement, or the only thing that I take for endurance and for my own diet, outside of some healthy nutrition, eating the right foods. But if I can't get enough of the right nutrition into my foods, I rely on True Nutrition, which is a supplement company. So I use some of their proteins to offset the days I can't get enough in me. So thanks to those two companies and their support, and not to mention my trainer, Jordan, over at HeartFit in Glendora, have all put me where I'm at today. And my wife, by the way. We've seen our share of podium finishes in the age group competitive, and we're enjoying it. We're looking forward to a great year this year. I'm actually out on a knee injury, which makes today's show even more inspiring because I know Mark has had his own physical challenges. But I'm excited to bring this interview to you. It's a long one. I'm very happy about it. I probably could have continued to talk to Mark, maybe a little bit selfishly because it's a topic that I'm in love with. So I hope you enjoy it as much. Thank you. And here's our interview with Mark. Hello and welcome to the Answer is Yes podcast. Thanks for tuning in. As always, we're here to deliver another great show. And this one's actually from my studio, so the sound quality is going to be a lot better. It's not going to be a call-in, which, of course, we don't mind doing that because we've had some great guests from all over the place. But I happened to run into a fellow Spartan, not only at the races, but also at my gym, and I finally got him in the studio. So for you Spartan listeners, I have Mark Batres in the studio here today. How are you today?
Doing good.
Yeah,
Doing
good. I was surprised to run into you in the gym yesterday because I kind of been stalking you on Instagram. It's tough to commit to doing something that you're not familiar with or you don't really know somebody.
Yeah.
And but I'm glad you're here, so thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
I definitely want to talk about your Spartan racing, but you also have a business side to you that I want to talk about. And for our listeners on this show, this is more of a business show and how people have, came to do what they're currently doing. Mm-hmm. And if you don't mind sharing a little bit of your your childhood and your upbringing and kind of the foundation of where you come from, because I think it's important when we get to the end of your story to know what your roots were. So can you talk about, where you went to high school and what your parents were like and your family life?
Yeah, like when I started running when I was 8 years old, like competitively. So it's pretty much been like kind of instilled in me to run, and my mom, she ran at the California State meet, so pretty much running has been in my family, since I was born.
Mm-hmm.
My dad started a running club. It was called Tiempo Striders, and then that was based in like East LA and like Montebello area.
Uh-huh.
So it was an interesting upbringing. I grew up we used to do the timing clock for the 10K mark at the LA Marathon.
Oh, wow.
Every year, yeah.
Yeah.
So it was a fun experience. Like we kind of like being around running my whole life. It was just something that everyone, like, we do this. This is what we do. And when I was small, like it really didn't I guess it didn't really click in until I guess my parents got divorced, and then when they got divorced, it was like, okay, now my dad was like, okay, I'm going back to running, and then he took us with him, and then we just ran too, and then it just became something that we did and we loved.
Yeah.
So then I started running. I got a lot better, and then I ran club running as a kid, and then I ran in high school, went to the state meet as well, and started running well. Then I ran in college at Cal Poly Pomona. So yeah,
you've been a runner. It's funny.
I've been running my whole life. Yeah.
I go out to these Spartan racers, and I feel like I'm pretty good out there, and I've had some success. But there's just some guys that are like a whole different level. I was like, how do they get there? And I'm like frustrated over it. And I talked to my trainer. He's like, well, they've been runners their whole lives.
Yeah.
And that's you.
That's me. That's me. Yeah, exactly.
I've been a runner for 2 years. And I'm frustrated. You've been a runner your whole life.
Yeah, exactly.
So it sounds like you had a great upbringing in your house in terms of, athleticism and your parents being around and all those things. Going to college, was that because of running, or did you want to pursue a career path when you went to college?
Actually, I just wanted to run. Like, that was my whole thing. I was like, whatever I got to do to keep running. So I was a really good runner in high school. I was probably ranked like 20th in the country for the 2 mile. So I had the pick of pretty much any college I wanted to go to, and like in the end, like I found out that a lot of like the D1 colleges, like they don't have very much funding for a lot of scholarships. So in like when I was soliciting myself to run for these colleges, I ended up finding out that like, wow, like a lot of people they don't have very many spaces, and because of the high school that I went to was so impacted with basically geniuses. It made my experience very difficult because I went to high school and I think I graduated with like a 2.5 GPA, and in comparison to other people in my class, I think we had like 3 people that had perfect scores on the SATs.
Yeah.
So it was like being surrounded with all these people, I'm like, oh my god, it was incredibly competitive and it was very difficult. So when I got out of high school, I didn't have very good credentials, like academically.
Yeah.
So then I ended up, I had to go to Cal Poly Pomona. That was like my only place where people were offering me a free scholarship and free ride, and I was like, okay, I'll go for it. And I did research Cal Poly being one of the better engineering schools in the country. So I was like, oh, it's cheaper, it's better, I might as well just go here, and it's close to my house, so I didn't have to pay for room and board and stuff like that for the first initial years when I was going to college.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So when you went to college, obviously you wanted to run, but you mentioned engineering. Was that a passion of yours at all, or just that's what you thought you wanted to go do?
Yeah, like I initially I went to Cal Poly because I wanted to be a mechanical engineer. Like that was my like in high school, that was what we were already learning. So in my high school, we had technologies. So there was electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, which was kind of split because there was materials analysis, and then there was actual machining, and then there was civil engineering. Then we had I think there was like general automotive, and we had computer science.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like we had all these engineering technologies. So by the time I got out of high school, I was already programming CNC machines. Like I was already doing like different, working the lathe, the mill. Like I already knew how to do these things. And like when I got to college, I started talking to people that were like, when I was a freshman, I was talking to people that were already like mechanical engineers, and they were telling me what they were doing in these projects, and I was actually helping them because they never touched these machines before. They were like, "Oh yeah, like I have this project, and I don't know what I'm going to do. I need more time on the milling machine, and I don't know how to do this." And I'm like, "Oh, the place I work at has like because I had a job at the same time." I was like, the place I work at has a machine shop.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's where I work. I work in a machine shop. You can come down and check it out, and I'll help you out. So I was helping mechanical engineers get their projects done, and I was like, oh, this is just fun for me.
Yeah.
So I was just having a fun time. But but because of my poor grades in high school, it kind of messed me up because I wasn't able to get into the mechanical engineering program because it was so impacted.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, everyone who got into the program were 4.0 students. I think the worst one I heard of was like a 3.5 GPA.
Mm-hmm.
But when I ended up going to college, my GPA went up big time because I was like, oh, college is easy compared to high school.
Yeah.
Like, this is fun.
Yeah.
Like, we're all just having fun here. Yeah.
So, thinking about your upbringing and stuff, obviously running was a big, important part of your life. Did you work in high school, or did you start working when you went to college? What was your work life like?
Like I started pretty differently than most people because like my mother and my grandfather, they owned a textile company.
Uh-huh.
So essentially we did like we did building materials. So we had to manufacture and make building materials. And so that means like in grade school, like me and my brother would like go out there and like work for a day and then make some money, and we'd be like, hey, that was fun.
Yeah.
So like we started working pretty early on in our lives.
Like how old do you think you were?
I was probably like 12.
Yeah.
Yeah, my brother was younger than me, so he was probably like 8.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, even now we look back on it and we tell each other like, it doesn't matter what we do in life. Nothing is harder than rolling like like tar paper. Nothing's harder than rolling tar paper in the middle of the summer and 115-degree heat. Like it was just death. Like in that building, it was like 120 something degrees, and it was just like we worked to the bone, and it was like and it was for like what we got paid or whatever, and it was just fun.
Yeah.
But I look at that, and I kind of see how my mom brought us up and how she let us work because we asked her that we wanted to work, and she let us do it, and it's so ingrained in our character now. Like me and my brother are just like, dude, there's nothing harder than that in the world, in the planet. Like there's nothing harder than that, and it's like if we could do that, we can do anything. We just got to put our minds to it, and we can do anything. So
what is it? What do you think encouraged yourselves to want to work at that young age? I mean, if you look around right now, most kids at 12 do not want to work.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Me and my brother kind of had an understanding that, like, we knew how the world worked. We're like, okay, you got to, like, if you want to buy stuff, you have to have money.
Mm-hmm.
So we're like, there's no way for kids to have money. It's like, it's not possible. Usually, people do like chores and stuff like that. We never did chores. We actually never did chores. So, like, my mom was like, you want to make money, you got to work. And we were like, yeah, then throw us out there. And then she honestly thought that there's no way these guys are going to work for more than 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And we put in a whole day's worth of work, and she'd be like, wow. She was just shocked. She's like, I can't believe you guys would stay out there for that long. She's like, I thought you guys would be back in 15 minutes. That's why I let you guys do it.
Yeah.
She's like, I can't believe you guys are out there for, 4 hours, let alone 8. So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was just a different, just the mentality of just like, hey, you got to hustle, you got to do it, just get it done.
Yeah.
And then so we just got it done. Yeah.
What'd you do with the money at 12 years old?
12 years old, we'd have little. It was funny because anytime that we'd have a day off, we'd go to we'd go to Fat Burger down the street.
Uh-huh.
So we'd have a Fat Burger like down the block from our house. So I tell my brother, hey, we got money, let's go down there. So we'd have big old juicy burgers, and it'd be